guys, welcome to Revved Up with Mike. Today we're going to be doing a quick TPS reset on this 2008 Ducati 848. And there's some things to keep in mind when you're doing a TPS reset. Number one is you need the appropriate cables. It's simply not a plug and play into your ECU and it works. You're going to need the proper cables with the proper power source. And what do I mean by that? Well, on these older ECUs, it requires the ECU to be powered. So let me show you that cable now, what you're going to need. So on most modern bikes, it requires just a plug into the ECU and you can run right into your software. Today we're going to be using JPDiag for this particular one. Now this is like kind of a universal connector here. So you got different, this is your pins here. You got 12 to 13, 1 to 9, 3, and 7. Now this runs off a 3-pin connector. However, actually one of those pins in these earlier models in this 2008 isn't even used. So realistically, it's reading 2 pins. That's how simple the connection is for this. However, it's not just this blue plug that you need here. You need this adapter right here that splits off and can give you a 12-volt connection, which you simply plug into here, and these are going to clip to your battery terminals. Now, it's very crucial that you do not accidentally put these on the battery backwards. You will fry your ECU. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. I'm going to show you how to plug this in and how to run this in JPDiag. Okay, and while our computer's powering up, I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, assuming you have JPDiag already installed, that is a video for another time, and it can be quite frustrating if you have a good PC that's newer. JPDiag doesn't really like to work with those systems very well, and you have to slow down your USB connection quite a bit to make them work. But we'll plug it into the USB here. We're going to take our power cables and we're going to clip them on. And what I have here, because on these particular Ducatis, when you have the battery cover off, the battery likes to fall out. So what we're going to do here, we'll always connect our positive first, then we connect our negative, and then we're going to connect this in to the ECU, and there's a little plug right down here on the bottom, and that's where that's going. You want to make sure your switch is set to 3-pin, and then we'll go into JPDiag. Now, one thing to note on this is that you need the bike relatively close to whatever you're using. In our case, we're using a really expensive PC, simply because I like a stable connection and I don't want any mistakes. However, like I said, these seem to work really a lot easier with an older laptop, something of that sort, and you can get a lot closer to the bike. As you can see here, our cables aren't very long and we're limited to our length, so the bike is extremely close to the PC. Little things that people don't tell you when you're doing this. And the longer your connection, the less reliable your readings are, so keep that in mind also. You also want to make sure that your battery is charged thoroughly. And if this is going to take you a while or something you're doing repeatedly, make sure you can plug it in. Make sure you have it on a battery tender. We should be okay for this one because the battery's fully charged and we're simply doing a reset. I'll show you around JPDiag in here really quick. So I have this set up. There I go in. I have to run it as an administrator. So I go on, I click Run as an Administrator here. It's going to ask me yes, and there we are. So this is JPDiag, and for some reason, with these particular screens on this PC, I can't enlarge this any, no matter what I do. So I'm stuck with this screen, which I found to be very, very strange. Now we're not going to click connect. I'm going to click slow initiation. You have fast and you have slow. These work better on slow initiation. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to hit connect on this, and then I'm going to come over and turn my key on forward here. Okay, there we go. And that is forward. And then it's going to show me some values here. Let you zoom in after it connects. Let it take time and connect. And you see it'll say connecting here. And we're going to be way up. We're at 2.9. Now, this is because I've adjusted things. So it's going to give me battery voltage. That's a little low for me to do this right now, but we're going to go in really quick to TPS reset, and you're going to see that value drop to 1.5. That's exactly where we want that to be. Okay? Then we're going to exit, and then we're going to come back here, and I'm going to clear these codes because I have codes of a bunch of stuff that says it's malfunctioning. Okay, so we're going to clear those, and we have some things we have to address later on. There's that. And the cooling fan rationality check malfunction. This is a code that I am troubleshooting right now, but we're going to close that and get that out of there. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is shut my key off over here. Okay, and your value may change on the screen because your TPS is adjusting. And we did clear the codes, so I'm going to do this twice, okay? I'm going to turn the key back on, and now it's going to communicate. And you might get a weird, it might jump up here. There, now we're back at 1.5. The ECU saw the reset, so we're good. And now we're just going to disconnect JPDiag, just like that. Disconnected, shut our key off, and your TPS is reset to the proper value. And that is it. That is as simple as it gets, but it can be quite frustrating. It can be quite frustrating putting the software on your computer. The things that people don't tell you, it can be frustrating. You have to get the software. It's a free software. And then you have to wait for an email back with a license. And it doesn't tell you when you got it. You'll know, it'll connect to the bike right away, but it won't do anything. Everything's locked until you get that license. So once you get that license, it's all unlocked. Even though it doesn't says or verify that it's working, if you can do the reset and hit the button and it physically moves on the screen, you know you got it. So it's that simple. Now, if your values start changing, 1.5 is baseline for this, where this bike should be. Some bikes I've seen go a little up, a little down, depending on the electronics in the bike, what's going on. But 1.5 is a baseline. And, you know, I have a bike that's running rich. We've just been tuning it. We got to get it into the tuner to get the air fuel adjusted. But I needed to get that baseline TPS set. And that may change again once he starts tuning. We'll do another reset on it when the bike is perfect and dyno tuned. They keep coming back. TPS on these bikes are a pain in the ass because you got to keep doing them. But so here is the bike we are currently working on. This is 2008 that I actually traded a Yamaha for, and I've done a lot to this bike. We've done, I mean, you name it, we've done it. The exhaust system that's on it right now is actually off of this Evo right here. That was a parts bike that came with it. The Remus pipes were on this, but I put these carbon fiber Two Brothers Racing pipes on it, the Black Series, because they're quieter. They're more of a rumbly pipe, and these Remus pipes sound like a GP bike. Yeah, it sounds fantastic, but not so good if you live in a neighborhood where you have good neighbors and you really don't want to piss them off. This bike, while still loud, is just more subtle. We've done a little carbon on this bike. The carbon rear hugger. We did the carbon fiber exhaust valve cover here, and we have carbon fiber air intake covers coming for it today, as a matter of fact. We've got a brand new clutch in it. Most of all of the electronics have been changed, with exception of the crank position sensor. Fresh oil. Yeah, it's really coming along quite nicely. I've got a lot of money invested in this bike now. And we have the Olin suspension on this one, which is also off of the Evo here. We have that beautiful Olin suspension. As you can see, you can eat off this engine. Very, very clean, very, very nice. It's got a brand spanking new battery. But we're chasing a few electrical gremlins in this bike right now that has to do with the cooling fan and even the temp sensor sometimes, which will throw off your TPS. I found it had a floating voltage in the ground, so we've grounded that out properly. So now we have it wasn't reading on the dash at all. Now that's reading on the dash. So much done to this bike, I can't even begin to tell you. We did a timing service on it. I've replaced the belt tensioners because whoever had it before over tightened them and it just wore the tensioners out. We replaced it. We've upgraded the vertical belt cover here with one off of the Evo because it's finned on both sides and on top to keep that rear head a little bit cooler and getting more air, which helps out a lot. A lot done to it. Like I said, going into the tuner, we'll see what we're going to make for horsepower on the dyno when we're done and see if we can get some of those little electrical gremlins out. He has more of diagnostic capabilities than I do with what he's got to work with. So there's that. I'm just getting this set up as a baseline that starts and runs and idles for him, and he's going to go in and fine tune everything. The throttle bodies have been changed on this also. The throttle bodies on this Evo here, this is the ones that were on this bike. No, this wasn't a swap. It was not a swap because this one didn't have throttle bodies on it on the parts bike. And by the way, these wheels will be going up for sale. They are mint, 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 excellent. No chips, I mean, they're beautiful wheels from the Evo. I know a lot of people said I should put them on this. Maybe we will. I don't know. So I bought another set of throttle bodies for this bike because somebody messed with the TPS on this bike before and broke the housing when trying to change the sensor. And everything, all the factory settings and all the yellow paint that you know they haven't been messed with was messed with. So rather than a lot of guesswork, I just got another set of throttle bodies, and then I changed the needle valves for the idle adjustments. I didn't need to change the whole thing, but I had them off of the other one. So I put them on because the gaskets were good on the seats, and the other ones were dry rotted. So we have sorted out so many issues with this bike. And this bike is not a high mileage bike. I think it's got around 5,700 miles on it. Yes, it has the aftermarket Gulf GT livery, paint scheme on it with a red tank. And a lot of people think that's weird. But when we're done, we're going to have a blue stripe that matches the fairing running over the red with the orange and black on it too. It's going to tie in very nicely when we're done. And the tank is mint. This is a beautiful motorcycle. Every nook and cranny that you look at is extremely, extremely clean. And this bike is in pristine condition with the exception of tires because, well, they've been ridden on the edge for quite some time and it's due. So we have new tires on the way also. All right, guys, that is it. I am rambling. If you could, give me a subscription, follow this build, and I'll be talking to you soon. And thanks for watching. Revved Up with Mike. Bye.
Player number one. Game over.